How's it going, everybody? Welcome into the Sactown Sports Kings recap show. My name is Chris Watkins, coming to you live from Golden One Center. After the Sacramento Kings, this team, man, they take down the Milwaukee Bucks, who have been playing incredibly well as of late. The I believe number 2 seed right now in the Eastern Conference. The Sacramento Kings just made easy work of the Milwaukee Bucks, who they have lost 15 straight games to. The Kings have not beaten the Milwaukee Bucks since 2016, since Giannis Antetokounmpo was 21 years old. He wasn't an all-star yet the last time this Sacramento Kings team beat the Milwaukee Bucks. So today is a massive day for the Sacramento Kings organization, just to finally get that monkey off their back and beat this team that they've been close a couple different times. Of course, the last time these two teams played, it led to Mike Brown getting kicked out. He brought the laptop out to the press conference after the game, and as we know, Damian Lillard hit a game winner after the Kings missed some clutch free throws in Milwaukee. But tonight, that was not the case at all. We didn't have to worry about missed free throws. We didn't have to worry about clutch performances. We didn't have to worry about tight calls or anything. Tonight was a night of pure domination from this Sacramento Kings team. I don't know how many times, but I think I can count on one hand how many times the Kings have won wire to wire this year. Never, ever didn't have the lead in this game. They came out hot. I really think, I don't know what it was, but something about this team today had a different energy. Mike Brown in his pregame press conference had a different energy. It felt like this team was really focused on getting this one tonight. You just hope that they can bring it tomorrow, where they play the Lakers in this building in less than 24 hours now. It was a really good win from wire to wire, from start to finish. This team looked great coming out of this game. It was a little bit scary, to be honest, with how well they were shooting, because you knew they were going to have to eventually slide back to the norm and shoot normal, and they definitely did. It was not a good shooting performance from the Kings in the second half, but it didn't matter. You know why? Because they did something that we've been talking about on this show all season long. We've been begging for it. Just because your shots don't fall doesn't mean that you give up on the game. You continue to defend. You hope your shots are going to fall, or you just say, you know what? The other team's not going to win this game if they don't make their shots either. So I thought it was huge to see at the end of the third quarter, the Kings only scored 20 points. They only scored 20 points in the third quarter. The thing that was different tonight than what's been happening every single night is the Kings only allowed 22 points in that third quarter themselves. So we've seen the Kings eventually go cold in a quarter. It actually happened a lot to them last season as well, where they would have 3 really big offensive quarters and then one just terrible quarter where they can't score and they can't stop the other team. Tonight, they couldn't score, but they decided to stop the other team, and it was incredible. The Bucks scored how many? They had 56 points at halftime. They didn't end up getting to 100. So, I mean, they really locked them down in that second half, and I think that was one of the most impressive defensive performances that this team has had all season long. Just on the perimeter, they were attacking everything. Keon Ellis set the tone. He was flying all over the place. Malik Monk actually as well did an excellent job contesting at the three-point line. This is exactly what Mike Brown wants out of his team, a performance like this, where shooters are shooting, they're knocking down shots. This is a game where Keegan Murray didn't play. Keegan Murray didn't even play today, and you wouldn't have known from how smooth the offense was running. Kevin Huerter hit his threes early. Harrison Barnes hit his threes early. And I think that was really the key for the Kings, just kind of feeling themselves and never looking back in this one. It was just a dominant performance. I think the big thing for me, it really was a development at halftime. It was Giannis and then everybody else for Milwaukee. Giannis was a problem. If we want to, dive too deep or really get analytical, we could complain about how the Kings couldn't stop Giannis and clearly don't have an answer for him as he drops 30 points tonight. But you can also point to the second half where Giannis only had 7 points. He was 2 of 7 from the field. Kings did a great job of making it hard for Giannis eventually in this game. And you can see that the Bucks got frustrated. I mean, Dame never had it going tonight. Keon Ellis made Dame's life hell all night long. I'm excited to see what the defensive numbers look at the end of tonight from Keon, because I think that Dame was in prison all day long. He was on Ellis Island, if you will. Dame at the end of the first half was 1 of 7, 2 of 10 at the end of the third, and I don't even know what he finished with, but this has to be one of Dame's worst performances of the season. He finished 2 of 12, 1 of 6 from 3. It was all Giannis. It was all Giannis tonight, and the Kings did a great job of not letting those other guys get going. Malik Beasley, 3 of 11 from 3. Dame, 1 of 6 from 3. Brook Lopez, 1 of 4 from 3. Pat Connaughton, 1 of 7 from 3. None of those guys got it going, and it feels like every time the Kings play any team in the NBA, not just the Milwaukee Bucks, but it feels like those other guys always have it going against the Kings, whether it be a guy like Grayson Allen or in the past, guys like Reggie Bullock and Daniel House, people like that would just always have it going, and the Kings never are able to slow those guys down. And I thought tonight that was absolutely the answer. I mean, if you look at it, I wrote it down here. Giannis tonight was 10 of 17 for 30 points. The rest of the team, everybody else not named Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Bucks tonight, combined for 64 points on 20 of 65 from the field. That is how you get it done, ladies and gentlemen. The Kings are going to win 99.5. I'll say 0.9. Why not? 99.9% of the games where they hold the rest of the team, the rest of the guys, to about 33% from the field. I mean, that's terrific. And again, without Keegan Murray, who you would think would have been essential to defending on a night like tonight, you really didn't even notice that he wasn't out there. And the fact that the Kings didn't have Trey Lyles for that second half too. So really the two guys that you would definitely handpick as the guys that, if you were to throw someone on Giannis, who do you think would do the best? Those would probably be my two choices. I know HB, you can maybe throw him in there, but I just feel like Trey, with his physicality and his strength, a little bit more than Harrison, and then just the defensive upside that we've seen from Keegan this year, those are the two guys that I would pick to guard Giannis. And the fact that the Kings essentially had neither of them for 2.5 quarters tonight, and of course Keegan didn't play at all, I think that's huge. And you can put some of this on the Bucks. The Bucks this season in general have been a bit up and down. They've found steadier waters here recently under Doc Rivers. They're now 7. They've won 7 of their last 10 after their loss tonight. So they're starting to figure it out. This is a really quality win for this Kings team. And I think that this is some real positive momentum, as I'm a little hesitant to even use that word heading into tomorrow's game against the Lakers. It just feels like the reason why I'm hesitant to use the word momentum is because we've just seen that word doesn't apply to this Kings team this year. It doesn't matter if they play the best game of the season. Their very next game, they're liable to have a complete stinker. So tonight is incredibly impressive. There's no way you can cut it any other way. This is a fantastic win. The Kings look great. They made the Bucks look terrible. But I'm just I can't go all in and say that this makes me feel better about tomorrow. I feel the same way I felt before this game started. I think the Kings absolutely have a chance to beat the Lakers tomorrow, but the Lakers are well rested. They haven't played, I believe, since Sunday, maybe Saturday even. And the Kings obviously played tonight. And so they're not going to have the rest advantage. They're going to need to come in here tomorrow ready to go, because it's going to be LeBron and AD. There's going to be a ton of Laker fans in this building here tomorrow. They're going to have a lot of energy, and the Kings thankfully didn't have to play a lot of their starters down the stretch there. But it's going to be interesting to see how tomorrow goes, because if tomorrow goes well, we're right back on that hope train, man. We hop right back on. There's no missing a beat. It feels like if the Kings win tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of people out there in Sacramento land that are going to be really excited. I think personally, I know people have said not again, never again. I have said never again. But I just think it's going to be really hard if the Kings put together another really good performance like they had tonight to try and deny this team. I think the offense was incredible tonight. I think in that first half, that's what the Kings want. If they could bottle that up and preserve it and bring it out when they want, I think that is the ideal look of how this Kings offense looked. They shot 66% from the field, 55% from three in that first half. I mean, what else can you want? I think all the starters were in double figures with the exception of Keon Ellis, who was impacting the game in all kinds of different ways. But you had Malik Monk contribute off the bench. So you had 5 guys, I believe, finish in double figures. It might have ended up with 6 finishing up in double figures. But it was – I say that this offense is equal opportunity. Tonight really was a great example of what it looks like when these guys are sharing the rock. There were some Fox moments. De'Aaron was incredible tonight, so efficient. His points were so easy to get. Was 4 of 5 from 3. None of those shots were rushed or forced. All of them felt like in the flow of the offense, really with the exception of that corner 3 that he hit on Giannis, I think in the third quarter to start it. That was really the only questionable 3, but he drilled it. So no questions there. Great game from De'Aaron. Sabonis just does what he does. He now has 47 consecutive double-doubles this season. That is a new franchise record, passing Jerry Lucas. That's an incredible accomplishment. Of course, there's a slight asterisk there, as we know that Sabonis kind of had to check in to one game. I guess one game isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things, but he did have to check in, I think, to the Denver game in order to get that 10th rebound, I think. So a little bit of an asterisk, but it's fine. In 5 years, no one will remember that. But a historic night for Sabonis. Also a historic night for Malik Monk. I wasn't aware of this coming into tonight. They mentioned it a couple times in the pregame press conference and then once during the actual game. When it happened, Malik Monk tonight set a franchise record for most assists off the bench for the franchise, passing Bobby Jackson. I'm not sure what the exact number that Malik is at, but congrats to Malik. It's been a great season for him, especially, I mean, that's been the biggest development is the consistent playmaking from him. Every single night, it feels like you can expect some variation of at least 15 points and 5 assists from Malik. And that's not just getting him involved, that's getting others involved. It's getting Domantas Sabonis in the pick and roll involved, which is just another weapon that this team can use. And it's a real plus to have a guy like Malik Monk as a secondary ball handler. And he's been terrific. He was terrific tonight. This is now, I think, 5 of his last 6 games. He's had at least 18 or more, has had double figures, I think in 8 straight games or something like that. Malik has been fantastic here recently, and tonight was just a chef's kiss on what's been just a really good stretch of games here from Malik, and you hope it can continue. You hope that he's not peaking just a little bit too early here as the playoffs are still, what are we, the Kings now, record-wise, how many games have they played so far this season? It says 37-27. Quick math puts that at 18 games left in the season. So hopefully the Kings still have a little bit left in the tank. While my brain's just kind of flowing right now, I do want to mention that, of course, I am more broken up than anybody that Trey Lyles couldn't finish tonight's game. I thought it would have been a really big opportunity for him. But with him possibly being out for some time, I'm not going to say too long, but the injury did look a little bit scary. Or just didn't look – it didn't look great. It did not look great from Trey Lyles. I don't want to speculate or anything, but if he does have to miss time, it might be a good opportunity for Sasha Vezenkov to squeeze some minutes in. I think it was a big question here down the stretch with Sasha coming back from injury and never really being inserted into the rotation. Like, what was Sasha's rest of season going to hold? Well, if Trey's going to be out, I mean, I definitely think that's an open opportunity for Sasha to maybe get some minutes unexpectedly here. So that could be a really big development for him in these last couple games down the stretch, because I just wasn't sure he was even going to get a look. I wasn't sure he was going to have time to get an opportunity just because this team was going to start to more focus in on the playoffs and can't really focus on integrating this guy into the rotation right now. But we're, funny things happen. Next man up, and you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. He might find himself in some opportunity as soon as tomorrow. I mean, I'd be pretty shocked if Trey played tomorrow. I know we haven't cleared Sasha yet, and he's still kind of going through practice time and hasn't really. To my knowledge, we haven't heard that he's gone through full contact practice or anything like that. But I would imagine that timetable might start pretty soon if it hasn't already. Manny Too Legit says Lakers in their hotel in Sac right now, watching this game, scouting on us to be ready for the game tomorrow. Hopefully we can win this back-to-back tomorrow to keep the consistency going. Yeah, the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, probably arrived here around tip-off into Sacramento. And yeah, they're right across the street right now in the Sawyer Hotel, and they definitely were watching this game. And if they watched it, they're probably pretty scared. I can't lie. There's no way that after the whooping that the Kings gave the Lakers, what was that, last week? It was last Wednesday. We are officially 7 days in between Laker games here. Last Wednesday, the Kings, I think, silenced the Lakers completely. Like, they thought after they were up 19 in that first quarter, they thought they had them. They thought that, this is going to be, you guys had us in the first half of the season, but we're a different look Laker team. Nah, the Kings took it to them, didn't look back. And I'm really not afraid of this Laker team in terms of matching up with these Kings. I think there's possibility that the Kings just kind of have a letdown tomorrow. Maybe the shots don't fall at the same rate that they fell tonight, but there's no reason why the same game plan that worked tonight for Giannis and the Bucks shouldn't work tomorrow for the Lakers. You gotta try and do the same thing. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is kind of their X factor in the same way a guy like Malik Beasley might be the X factor for Milwaukee. You've got to shut him down. I would love to see Keon Ellis on him. I think there's a good possibility if Keegan can't go tomorrow, we see the same starting lineup. Also wouldn't rule out Keegan playing tomorrow. I think that we saw him practicing earlier today. He was walking around gingerly. Brendan Nunez told us that, they actually technically didn't practice today. Usually, they would at least run drills or, maybe run some formation, some sets. The Kings did not do that. It was pretty much film heavy today. They did their individual workout, some shots, some shooting drills, but did not do a full contact practice. So we don't really know where Keegan's at in his health recovery. But, just with it being a twisted ankle, I would assume that tomorrow's not completely out of the question. He was questionable today, pretty late scratch. It would not surprise me if Keegan plays tomorrow. That gives you a fresh body and somebody that's ready to go for tomorrow, and maybe you can ride him a bit. Maybe you can use Keegan's energy and kind of lean on him a bit. Because Lord knows we need it. We need a really big Keegan Murray performance because he has been struggling offensively here recently. So we can definitely use a big Keegan game in the same way. I think today was a big Kevin Huerter game. I'm not going to say it was huge. I'm not going to say, he's turned a corner, but the fact that Kevin just looked really confident out there, 3 of 8 from 3. He played 25 minutes, which is the most I can remember him playing in a while here. I think tonight was just big for kind of resetting things. Kevin did play 25 minutes the other day against Houston. The last time he had played more than 25 minutes was March 1st against Minnesota. So it's been a while since we've seen Kevin Huerter get this kind of volume. And yes, Shortcake, absolutely. Keon Ellis started in place of Keegan tonight. They ran De'Aaron at point. They ran Keon at the 2, ran Huerter at the 3, HB at the 4, and, of course, Sabonis at the 5. And, yeah, I mean, to start the game, they looked fantastic. Keon today was a team high in the plus-minus department. Not that really it was that big of a difference from him and everybody else. All the starters were at least plus 19 and over. So that lineup just absolutely destroyed the Bucks. But Keon tonight was a plus 27. So the Kings outscored Milwaukee by 27 points in the how long was he even out there? In the 27 minutes that Keon Ellis was out there, the Kings outscored the Milwaukee Bucks by 27 points. So that's the kind of impact that Keon had. For everyone out there who might say, oh, Keon Ellis, he can't play offense. Well, how is he not slowing down the offense or mucking up the offense? I mean, clearly it was not an issue tonight, and I think he was just additive. On the defensive end, again, they put him on Damian Lillard, and Dame couldn't go anywhere. Offensively, Keon's not afraid to shoot. He knocked down one today. He had one that looked really, really off, but Keon the other day hit 3 threes. He's more than capable of knocking some down. I don't think he's, if you were to extrapolate his numbers, his three-point attempts for the entirety of the season, and you're giving him 20 minutes, I think Keon could probably shoot 37, 38% from three. I don't think he's like a 34% three-point shooter. So I really like Keon Ellis in the offense. I think it works. I don't think it bogs it down at all. And I think it gives you an interesting look. Like, I think it's somebody who can lock down perimeter offensive players and not have to worry about De'Aaron expending energy early. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I do. It's kind of the same reasons that you would think Chris Duarte earlier in the season made a lot of sense, where he was taking the responsibility of the other team's best perimeter player and was really only asked to shoot threes offensively. I see Keon doing that easily. And also Keon, the thing that I like actually about his passiveness, or his, you can maybe view it as him sometimes passing up shots, but I actually think it's a positive because he just has a self-awareness of, look, if I'm on the floor with De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Harrison Barnes, and Domantas Sabonis, a Keon Ellis jump shot is a win for the other team. And so he's usually, unless he's wide open and it makes sense, it's in the flow of the offense, Keon's not just going to pull. He's not going to be a guy out there who's going to be looking for his offensively. He's very comfortable in his own skin in this NBA world, and he knows what he's out there to do. So I think there's a lot of value in just having that's the definition of a role player, right? A guy who knows his role, isn't trying to overstep any boundaries or anything like that, but just really takes pride in excelling at the things that he is asked to do, no more, no less. And I think that's exactly what Keon Ellis is giving you right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if, I mentioned Kevin having a good game today, but if Kevin Huerter does put together a couple bad performances, I said it earlier on the radio today, I am not opposed to Keon Ellis just moving into that starting lineup. You can go De'Aaron, Keon, Keegan, HB, and Sabonis. I think there's something there. Now, come playoff time, might you need to reevaluate? Possibly, but I think right now is a great time to test run it. Just with how much proof of concept I feel like you have with Keon. It seems like almost every time he's been on the floor, things have gone well. I mean, the Kings even beat OKC earlier this season without De'Aaron playing and Keon in that starting lineup. I just think he's a real player. And for anyone who's been on these streams for a couple years now, I guess I've only done this for 2 years, but I've been a big Keon Ellis guy. I've really felt like I've championed him. Brendan Nunez, I will never, ever try and take Brendan's crown. Brendan, from honestly, not even summer league, from the time Keon was picked up as an undrafted free agent, Brendan Nunez has said, this guy can be something. This is an interesting 3-and-D prospect. I saw it pretty quickly, even in the California Classic in his first year, especially in summer league last year. You could see it. You could see how this dude is different. And it was really just all about him getting to a certain level offensively. And I think that year in the G League really helped him. Brendan, actually, funny enough, asked him earlier today about, how Stockton is bringing along Colby Jones right now. And Keon essentially said, yeah, like I see how that's exactly what I just went through. I see it in Colby, and I think it's the right development. As you send Keon down there in the same way they're sending Colby down there right now. You put him at point guard, which is a position he doesn't naturally play, but it forces him to have the ball in his hands. It forces him to get a handle. It forces him to make decisions, have a lot of the game be carried in his hands. And you can see how it affects Keon now. I mean, he's just always looking to make the right play, and he just has a really good sense of, hey, if this situation calls for me to be aggressive, I'll do it. But more times than not, it's about making sure that your team gets the best possession possible. And I think that's just offensively what I've really, really liked out of Keon to see. So great to see him start. I think a lot of what he does, because this is the biggest cliche in the books, but it doesn't show up in the box score. I was tracking his quarter by quarter numbers. It's just consistently giving you something every quarter. The third was a little tough for him, picked up 2 fouls, but in every single first quarter, 5 points, 2 of 2 from the field, hit a 3. He was plus 14. Second quarter, he only had 2 points, but he had a steal, an assist, a rebound. He was plus 6 when he was out there. Again, third quarter was tough. He picked up 2 fouls, only had a rebound. He was minus 1 in that third. But then in the fourth, again, no points. He had an assist. He had a rebound. He had a steal, and he was a plus 8 in that quarter. So it's just winning basketball with Keon out there. And I feel like I'm done gushing about Keon, but I'm just so excited to see him getting minutes here, man, because I frankly just wouldn't have thought that it would have came this soon. And I'm glad that, it wasn't just all hype. He's actually got some production to show for it. And I really think that, again, he's a winning player. I just think you put him out there and things happen. He's playing passing lanes. He's, we talk a lot about anticipation versus reaction. And Keon is definitely one of those anticipation guys. He sees the play happen right before it happens. He's not seeing the play and then getting to the spot. He's already in the spot because he saw it 2 seconds before it even happened. That's the guy that the Kings they don't have right now, and they haven't played with a guy who has that kind of intangibles, who can just kind of make plays, a little bit of a wild card. Some nights are going to look better than others for Keon. There's definitely going to be nights where, if he's not really excelling in his defensive matchup, if he's not creating turnovers and he's not hitting shots, well, then you're really not getting a lot out of him except for probably a good point of attack defender, which is still, that's still something that this team will desperately need. But, you can understand how maybe at those points you might value a guy like Kevin Huerter a little bit more. But I just think that the fact that Keon is getting rotational minutes at the very least is a massive positive. And how many minutes he actually ends up playing, we'll see. But I just think the fact that he's shown proof now that this guy he belongs in the rotation. And if he's not playing, if he's getting DNPs, I think that's really, really questionable at this point. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting question, Shortcake, for sure. Starting Keon over Kev, do you think Kev would take that personally and regress? It's definitely a possibility for sure, especially with the shooter. You don't want to get in his head. You don't want him thinking about, oh my gosh, now I have to press, I have to hit shots now, instead of, oh, I feel like I have some leeway to maybe get my game going. No, if you're coming off the bench, you need to impact immediately. It does kind of change your thought process, your approach to the game. But, if that's the situation that Kevin gets put in, he's got to figure it out, because that's not on Mike Brown to figure out. Mike Brown is trying to figure out the best players to throw out there. And if Kevin is a casualty of that, he's going to have to figure it out if he wants to get some playing time, because things are not just given to you in this league. You don't just be able to, Kevin's not making $25 million per year. He's making 14, I think. So it's not crazy to throw a guy like that onto the bench. He is not guaranteed really anything with this roster. So it definitely he might take it personally. He might regress. But he also might take it as a challenge, and he might use it as fuel to say, man, I feel like I'm struggling. I feel like my game has slipped, but if I'm getting benched for this guy who was on a 2-way contract 3 months ago, maybe I need to lock in a little bit more. Maybe I do need to focus on details. Maybe I do need to listen to coach more. I don't know. Like it can just have I use this word again. It might have a way of recentering him, refocusing him. It might be exactly what he needs. But yeah, absolutely. There's just as big of a chance that it does hurt his confidence, and he does take it personally, and he does regress. And maybe at the end of the season, he sees the writing on the wall, and he says, okay, so wait, Keon's playing over me. You're going to have to sign Malik. Get me out of here. That definitely might happen. But I just don't think that that's really something that the Kings have to worry about right now. They've got to worry about getting the best team out there because this playoff stretch is absolutely brutal. Sorry, I have to turn around. There's so many people here. Oh, Brooke Lopez and family chilling. Let me see here. I'm trying to see who's around here. There's a lot of Bucks chilling around. Oh yeah, I see that JaVale McGee made a three. Dame's got a huge squad out here. Yeah, a lot of Damian Lillard people out here. Maybe I can show you guys a bit here. Here, hold on. Let's see here. Let's do a little zoomy action here. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. A little investigative. Is this doing too much? Also, am I please, you know what? I'm making a executive decision. I feel like I'm doing too much. So yeah, there you go. There's a ton. There's just so many people behind me right now. But apparently the Bucks have a big Sacramento contingency. So there you go. There you have it. Yeah, they're wilding back there though. I don't know if you guys probably can't hear them, but they are screaming back there. Yeah. How's everyone feeling about tomorrow's game? Are we feeling nervous? Are we feeling good? I feel good. Like I said, I don't really fear this Lakers matchup too much. I feel like the Kings have handled them all year long. And you just kind of, I don't know, like you just kind of look at how the Kings have played them all year long, and I just don't think the Lakers match up very well with them. The Kings like to run, and they just, they just can't really match the pace of what the Kings like to play at with Braun and AD. Those guys want to play slow half-court offense, and the Kings obviously just don't do that. Inspector, yes. I've got, my my guys Brendan and Frankie have started bringing binoculars out here, so I might need to do that. This is so weird. I cannot express how weird this is. Like, these fools have just kind of taken over an entire section of Golden One Center here. Brooke Lopez and fam is like taking up probably 6 rows. I see Dame. Dame has so many people here. That must be so annoying. Like, sorry. Wow. Yeah, I'm just looking here, and that's got to be so annoying. Like, there's way too, like, I can already tell there's probably, I would say there's probably like 6 to 8 people that Dame probably actually knows down there, and it looks like a bunch of tag-alongers. It's just a bunch of people who are trying to get their selfie in. There's a dude who's got like a Larry Johnson. Yeah, like all of these people, this whole cluster of people right here, this is all Dame. This is Dame. Yeah, everybody that you guys can see here is all Dame. Like Brooke Lopez and fam are like here. They're you guys can't really see them, but poor guy, man. Poor guy. That's the bad side of fame. And I've heard stories about how for like situations like this, those tickets are not comped, okay? Those tickets are paid for at full price by Damian Lillard. So, for anybody out there, there's a lot of people in here. If y'all have ever had the pleasure of having a cousin or maybe, I don't know, a family friend or something be an athlete and they hooked you up with some tickets to a game, there's a chance. I mean, if it was like 2 or 4 people in that group, that maybe you got some comp tickets. But odds are when you have this going on, when you've got a family reunion going on, that's like thousands of dollars. That is a lot of money to have people that you've probably never talked to, just come out. And that's when people talk about paparazzi and, people's clicks being too big. I'm not saying Dame is that. I think Dame is just, we know Dame loves Oakland, and he's just a dude who loves his hometown. And this is probably, this and the Warriors are the closest that these people can get. And this is probably a lot cheaper of a ticket. So, shout out Dame and shout out all these people. But, man, I would definitely say, it's got to be like our relationship has to be like a 6.5 or higher if you're coming through, because I'm not just bringing, my aunt's cousin's coworker or something like that. This kid, no, I'm sorry, that's not happening. Yeah, for sure. How about that? Yes, Airborne Musician. We won by one more point than Giannis's jersey number. That's incredible. Was it a 35-point win? Wow, that's got to be one of the biggest wins just by point differential of the season for the Kings. Let's see here. As I was talking about Dame. How do I hear Kevin John? Kevin John is the funniest man on the planet. JaVale McGee made a 3, bro. What are we talking about? What the hell was that? Like, I saw Mike Brown the whole time like this. JaVale shoots it, makes it. Cool. Just didn't move a muscle. So I don't think Mike Brown appreciated that much. He probably felt like that was a bit of rubbing it in. JaVale's a lunatic for taking that shot. It feels like the JaVale McGee experience is probably over here in Sacramento. I think that these will be the kind of situations where we're going to see JaVale in the rest of the year. And that was kind of wild. That was the kind of thing you do when you know you're not in the rotation, because that was insane. JaVale McGee has no business. I don't think there's a world in which Mike Brown would ever say, yeah, you know what, JaVale, it's the right opportunity. You're open. Let it fly. There's no way. So that was insane. Even the fact he took it, like, honestly, him making it, whatever, that was great. But the fact that he even took the 3 was like just insane. Just so, I don't want to, it's not actually disrespectful, but it was pretty disrespectful. I did not know Brooke was from Fresno. I know, obviously they went to Stanford, so I figured they were semi-local, but I did not know they were from Fresno. That would have been, to see Brooke and Robin at Fresno State would have been interesting. Dame from Oakland, obviously. Yeah, so that's really interesting. I've seen Brooke before at Disneyland. I know they're really big Disney heads, so I definitely thought Brooke was from LA. So that's interesting to hear. He's from the know. Of course, Dame is straight Oakland's finest. He's not number 0. He's number O for Oakland. Isn't this just absolutely so backwards, but it's so true? Yeah, much rather face the Lakers on the back-to-back than the Pistons, that's for sure. Yeah, because if the Kings were playing the Pistons tomorrow, they would have the ultimate good vibes. They would say, dude, we just beat the freaking Bucks by 35. What are you talking about? Rain Fox could play tomorrow, and they could win by 20. And thankfully, since it's the Lakers and since the Kings are right there with the Lakers in the playoff race, thankfully the Kings won today. There was a chance if the Kings lost today and lost yesterday that the Lakers would have leapfrogged them in the standings. So it's good that the Kings picked up the win today and kind of cleared themselves of that situation. But, yeah, it feels like if the Kings would have tricked this one off tonight, things probably wouldn't have – I'm sorry, if the Kings would have played the Pistons tomorrow, that probably would have gone bad because they would have just been feeling themselves too much. Yeah, disrespectful is not the right word. I should not have said disrespectful. It wasn't really like disrespectful. It's just it's a wild thing to do. And that's what when I say disrespectful, it was just like, oh wow, okay, so y'all are up 30 and JaVale's taking threes. That's the point that we're at here today. So not actually disrespectful, but just kind of wild. Yeah, JaVale is crazy. Yeah, for sure. Dame is definitely still connected with the community. The real Dame time is after the game. Yeah, this is definitely what Dame time looks like. Even still, they're trying to clear these people out of here, but there's still a good helping of family Lillard here. I'm trying to see if Dame is even still out here. See Brooke here. Oh yeah, Dame just got a picture with that local guy. Shout out Drew. So Dame, be expecting a Damian Lillard, that local guy collab coming out pretty soon. Kind of insane. Let me see if I can grab a picture of Drew. Well, that's fine. It's fine. They got it. Let's see here. Yeah, can we ask the league to only play teams below 500 or over 500 the rest of the year? Please. Yeah. Hey, man, got a lot of family here. Well, though, to the point of what I said earlier about the tickets, maybe that's exactly why he won't retire in SAC, because he's like, if I end up retiring in SAC, well, that's going to be a lot of games where I'm going to have to buy a lot of tickets. Thoughts about Sasha next season? I mean, I think it's a little early to try and forecast what it's going to look like. I definitely would say more involved, ideally. I think if they don't have plans to play Sasha next year, I don't want to say it, but I do kind of think there's a possibility maybe they explore trading him this offseason, just because I don't really know, even if Sasha plays to the guy that we think Sasha is, how much is that really helping out this Kings team get to the place where they want to be? I'm not saying Sasha's not productive at all and isn't useful, but if the Kings want to get more versatile defensively and really just quicker defensively as well, I just don't know how much Sasha really helps. He's, of course, a great shooter and a good offensive weapon, but I think the Kings just kind of need more threes who can play make and play defense at the same time, and that just doesn't really fit Sasha. So I hope he's more involved if he isn't moved. I would like to think that they'll find a way to make him a piece of the offense, and they're now clearing out all of Dame's family. So, yeah, I definitely think that – they are really trying to kick these people out. But yeah, no, I think Sasha, I think he's going to be an impact player for the next season, but we'll just have to see, man. We'll really have to see, because there's not really anything that you can take from this year to try and put into next year. It's been a really, really weird season for him. And I hope he gets some run at the end of this year. I definitely think it would help him confidence-wise, because I don't think he's going to play in the playoffs. But I would like to hope that he's at the very least going to have a better role carved out for him next year. Dang, bro. Lost my car keys tonight at work. At least the Kings won. That's a mini dub. That is a mini victory, because losing your keys and losing your wallet are some of the worst feelings in the world. And phone, if you just leave it anywhere, I do the pats. I hit my pockets and I hit my back pockets, and I'm like, it's not in here. So I know that feeling can be absolutely terrifying. Dude, oh my God. Yeah, this dunk was crazy. I came out of nowhere, too. I mean, they were down by 30, and homeboy just, rose above. I said, what? What is going on? Does this fool not know that this game is over? So, yeah, that was a sick dunk. I thought it was Justin Jackson out there. When I saw Jackson Jr. 44 on the back of his jersey, I was like, and he even has the hair, too. I was like, is that Justin Jackson still kicking around in the NBA these days? And he had that dunk, and I said, that is not Justin Jackson. That is definitely not Justin Jackson. So shout out whoever Justin Jackson's cousin is. I don't know if it was the dunk of the year, but it was one of the best dunks I've seen in Golden One Center this year. Do you think when the Kings come out being physical, it's a recipe for the Kings winning? For sure, just in general. I mean, they defensively, they need to kind of set the tone physically to be a great defense. it's definitely where it starts for sure. I mean, they're not in general physical, so I don't really know what like a physical Kings performance looks like. I guess it is just kind of them playing guys like Duarte, and Keon, and Keegan a lot defensively, and De'Aaron being locked in. But yeah, I mean, Sabonis is physical every single night. He's definitely physical in the paint. I guess you could say driving to the rim is their form of physicality. Tonight wasn't. I don't think they necessarily scored at the rim more than usual, but I mean, absolutely, just in general, this team not being pushovers and asserting their will, I definitely think is big for them defensively mainly, which I would just tie in and say, yeah, that helps them win. Absolutely. Yeah, the Kings were in their face. They were contesting just about everything that was out there. It was a really good performance from them on the defensive end tonight. Definitely one of my favorite defensive performances from them on the season. And I want to get the number. I think Jason Anderson said it. I just didn't hear how many times this team has won wire to wire this season. Like I said, I think it's been under 5 times that they've won this season. Yeah. Do I see major minutes? This is the last one I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to head out of here. Davion Mitchell, do I see major minutes for Davion in the postseason? I don't necessarily think so. Like, I think he'll probably figure out how to – he'll get into the rotation, but I don't think he's going to get major minutes. Like, if I had to guess – I mean, they've got to play somebody in the non-Fox minutes. I think we'll probably – it wouldn't surprise me if we see Malik Monk, honestly, as the backup point guard a lot of times in the playoffs. I just think straight up they might go Monk, Keon, Keegan, and Trey Lyles and Sabonis or something. I kind of think that we're going to see a lot of that. I think Davion, maybe if the matchup calls for it, trying to think of – even like, maybe you trust Davion on a guy like Jamal Murray. But if they're playing, Minnesota, what's really the point of putting Davion out there to guard Mike Conley? He can't really guard a guy like Anthony Edwards. If they're playing OKC, I think Shea is too big for him. If they're playing the Clippers, it just kind of has to make sense. Like I said this last year during the playoffs, but last year's postseason was like, that is the Davion Mitchell series. That's exactly when you want to have a guy like Davion Mitchell, when you're playing against a team that has a guard like Steph Curry, or even this team that they played tonight in the Milwaukee Bucks. They're playing against Damian Lillard. That's when you want a guy like Davion Mitchell out there in the playoffs. But it kind of becomes the grander Davion conversation when you talk about him playing against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, playing against Anthony Edwards, playing against CJ McCollum, maybe even. I might trust Davion against CJ McCollum, but like it's kind of tough to throw him out there if he doesn't have a dominant perimeter guard that makes sense size-wise, because then you're just getting switched, and especially in the playoffs, teams are just going to run you around. They're going to get you into switches until you get the match, or until they get the matchup they want. And it'll probably end up being Davion in the paint on some massive dude. And they're just going to go to it until Davion gets taken off the floor. And that's where it's going to be big on Davion to hit his threes. Thank you, Manny. Absolutely. I was going to do that anyway, but absolutely. I told you to keep me accountable, and that's exactly what you're doing. I just think that Davion's going to have a tough time securing playoff minutes. I think he's played really well this season, especially as of late. He has played really well. I'm not completely giving up hope, but I just think that my bigger point is that it's going to be matchup dependent. You can't really just lock in Davion Mitchell playoff minutes. I think it's going to play a lot into the matchups that actually that actually show up. 3 stars tonight. This one is a bit of an easier one. At the very least, we have 3 options to pick from, which hasn't always been based. I'm going to go with my 1-star Domantas Sabonis almost has a triple-double, 22 points, 11 boards, 8 assists for Domas. Really just a typical Sabonis game. He had 2 offensive rebounds, had a steal, no blocks. He was plus 20. He played really well against Brook Lopez, who let me not say that too loud, actually. Sorry, Brook is still here, so I'm not going to talk too much about Brook. I love Brook Lopez, but he was 2 of 7 today, 1 of 4 from 3, only had 4 rebounds. Sabonis kind of dominated him. He killed him all game long. I really didn't even notice Brook Lopez out there, which is tough because, again, I'm an admirer. I was looking for him, couldn't find him. Splash Mountain is shut down tonight. And Sabonis was great. I'm not joking. I'm going to whisper. The last thing I want is to see like a 7-footer just hovering over my shoulder because he heard me trash about him. Sabonis was great. It really wasn't anything special. He dominated in the paint, though. They got a lot of switches. They got Milwaukee, and he dunked. I really can't say this one loud, but he threw down all over Brook Lopez. It was nasty. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. Sabonis started the game off just his Statue of Liberty dunks are really impressive because he has credit card hops. He really cannot jump very high at all. Man needs to hit some box jumps. But when he gets his arm extended, he can throw it down on just about anybody. And for him to throw it down on Brook Lopez was wild. Was absolutely wild. 1 star for Domantas Sabonis for absolutely destroying his matchup against Brook Lopez. 2 stars tonight is going to it's going to go to Malik Monk. I want to give Malik the 3 stars. Yeah, you can do the process of elimination, but Malik 25 points, 5 boards, 5 assists as well. He was great. He was just as good as he was the other night. Obviously didn't require clutch moments like he did in their last game, but Malik, when he's hitting, man, if he's going to be the Kings' 3rd option consistently, that's a huge development. He's been a bit inconsistent. It's still excellent, but hasn't been there every single night. And, in him having this stretch of really good performances, I mean, you just see the value. Maybe he's making his 6th man of the year run right now, but he has really turned it on here as of late, and you see him knocking the 3-level score. He's kind of eliminated the mid-range. He was looking for mid-range jumpers a bit these past couple weeks. Seems like he's gone back to really just threes and at the rim, and he can't be stopped, man. He has such a unique layup package. His ability to kind of stay up in the air and finish with some circus finishes. It's really special, man. There's not many people in the NBA who can finish the way that Malik Monk does and provide the perimeter shooting. He's just the ultimate package. He's a ball handler. He's a shooter. He's a finisher at the rim. And he's just so fun. He is one of the players on this team, if not the funnest player on the team. And, it's just been a really fun season for Malik. 3 stars going to that guy, De'Aaron Fox, who just was steady today. Again, 4 of 5 from 3. Love to see him knock down that perimeter jumper. Destroyed Dame in that competition. I had a stat that Dame and Fox had both had at least 20 points in their last 6 head-to-head matchups. De'Aaron met his end of the bargain. He had 29 tonight, but Dame did not show up. 10 points. A lot of that was Keon Ellis, but De'Aaron as well got switched on to a couple possessions. Malik Beasley had a quiet night. So just in general, the guards were really quiet for the Bucks, and that was a lot on De'Aaron and Keon Ellis as well, and Malik. Malik definitely had a really good defensive performance tonight as well. But De'Aaron Fox, man, head of the snake, so calm, so collected. He had a couple tonight too. It's very rare that we get multiple like real cockback throwdowns from De'Aaron. So the fact that we got him, I wouldn't say feeling himself tonight, but expressing himself, I think is what Mark Jones would say. Expressing himself a bit tonight was really good to see. And just a bit of I wouldn't say like an exorcist, but it did have a bit of a lifting feeling. Like they just felt very light today. They didn't feel like they had a lot of, the opposite of feeling light. It didn't feel like they had heavy shoulders, didn't feel like they had a weight, pushing them down of pressure and expectations. Today they played really loose, really free. And, I hope to see that more. I hope to see this team not feel stress, not feel pressure, feel like they're having fun. I just think that they need to get to more of that, and hopefully they can with compounding wins here. This is a great win tonight, one of the best of the season, and tomorrow they have to come back and do the exact same thing against those dang Lakers, man. Can't stand them. And every time the Kings can beat the Lakers, it's a great day, and it's a great opportunity. So hopefully we're back here in less than 24 hours talking about another Kings victory, and this team actually building some positive momentum and some positive feelings. Y'all have a terrific night. I got to go check out that beam before they turn it off. Y'all have a great one. Sacramento Kings win this one tonight by a score of 129-94. Go back to 10 games above 500, and they play those pesky Lakers tomorrow. See you then.